guys know now who won.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Okay.
And the winner is Caitlin Clark.
The Indiana Fever just proved that the biggest moments in sports aren't always about the scoreboard. Sometimes they're about loyalty, love, and showing up for each other when it hurts the most. Caitlin Clark has taken the basketball world by storm. The Indiana Fever star went from college standout to WNBA sensation almost overnight. Known for her incredible skill, competitive spirit, and strong leadership, she became the face of the Fever in her very first season. By her second year, she wasn't just holding her own, she was leading the pack. In July 2025, she proved it by winning WNBA Player of the Year at the ESPYs, beating league greats like Breanna Stewart, A'ja Wilson, and Napheesa Collier. It was a huge moment, and fans were sure it was just the beginning of an extraordinary career. But soon after, trouble struck. During a tough game against the Connecticut Sun, Clark was seen in pain, later revealed to be a groin injury she'd been playing through for weeks. Just days after her big award, she announced she'd missed the 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend, including the game and three-point contest, both scheduled in her home city of Indianapolis. Fans were heartbroken, and Clark admitted she was too, saying her health had to come first. It was a disappointing turn in what was shaping up to be her shining moment at home.
Sure will be a big first step for me, but it's just one step for the WNBA. Thanks to all the great players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, the great Dawn Staley, and my best.
Even with her injury keeping her off the court, Caitlin Clark made a promise she'd still be there, front and center, cheering for her teammates. It was a clear show of maturity, choosing her long-term health over chasing a moment of glory. But her absence meant the WNBA had to fill a big gap in the three-point contest. Luckily, the replacement was already close by. Lexi Hull, Clark's Indiana Fever teammate, got the nod. Hull had been shooting lights out all season, especially from beyond the arc. This was her moment to step into the spotlight. She'd been one of the league's most consistent three-point threats, making her a natural choice to take Caitlin's place. While she didn't have the same level of media buzz, true basketball fans and coaches knew what she brought: focus, discipline, and the kind of accuracy that can change a game. Filling in for Clark on such a big stage wasn't just flattering, it was a serious responsibility. The entire league, along with thousands of extra eyes, would be watching. Especially with the event set right in Indianapolis, Hull was ready for it. This was her shot to represent the Fever and honor her injured teammate while proving she could shine under pressure. But behind all the excitement, there was a personal heartbreak. Just days before she was named Clark's replacement, Hull suffered a deep loss. Her dog Maggie, who had been part of her life for 14 years, passed away. Hull shared black and white photos of their time together and wrote a moving tribute online, calling Maggie the sweetest Mags and admitting that home would never feel quite the same. The emotion struck a chord with fans everywhere. By the time All-Star Saturday rolled around, all eyes were locked on Lexi Hull. Could she handle the heat? The lights were bright, the crowd was loud, and social media was in a frenzy. This was no ordinary shoot-around. It was Lexi's chance to step up, carry the moment, and show the world exactly what she could do when everything was on the line.
This is wild. WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. A'ja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. Uh-oh.
When the buzzer sounded, Lexi Hull stepped up to the rack looking calm and locked in. Shot after shot dropped straight through the net, smooth, clean, and confident. Each make sent the Indianapolis crowd into a frenzy, chanting her name louder and louder. For a few minutes, it felt like the night belonged entirely to her. Even without Caitlin Clark on the floor, the Fever were still making waves on one of the league's biggest stages. Online, fans were just as loud. Comment sections lit up with people calling Hull a hidden gem finally getting her moment. Courtside, Clark, in street clothes, stood and cheered every time Hull cleared a rack. That kind of respect said it all. By the time the final round wrapped up, Hull hadn't just filled an empty spot, she had created her own highlight. showing she belonged among the WNBA's best shooters. From personal loss to the national spotlight, she had made her statement. She was ready for the big stage when the scores came in. The arena went silent for a split second. Hull had finished second overall, just one shot away from winning the whole contest. Then the place erupted, the crowd chanting her name as if she'd just hit a finals game winner. For someone who wasn't even expected to compete, it was a breakout moment that proved she could go toe-to-toe with anyone. Social media caught fire. Fans dubbed her the silent sniper, saying she'd earned her flowers in one night. National analysts, who'd barely mentioned her before, were now posting slow-motion clips of her shot, with captions like, "Textbook form." After the contest, Clark, still nursing her injury, hugged her teammate with tears in her eyes. "Lexi held it down for us tonight," she told reporters, smiling through the pain. The quote went viral instantly. To teammates, united by respect, resilience, and the will to win, had flipped the weekend story. What was supposed to be about Clark's absence had become about Hull's arrival, and just like that, one chance had the potential to change her entire career.
5 games with the injury, the quad, keeping Caitlin Clark on the sidelines. But Trevor, she was back today for...
Sports shows couldn't get enough of Lexi Hull's smooth shooting form, replaying her highlights on loop and debating if she might become a long-term star for the Fever. Alongside Caitlin Clark, fans quickly joined the conversation, throwing in their own takes. Some joked, "Caitlin's the queen, but Lexi's the sniper." Social media blew up with side-by-side videos comparing the two, one viral post reading, "Clark's range, Hull's precision, Fever's got to assassins." The weekend storyline had officially flipped. What began as a disappointment over Clark's absence had turned into proof of the Fever's depth. After the contest, Clark posted a photo on Instagram of her hugging Hull with the caption, "Proud is an understatement." She earned that moment. The post drew hundreds of thousands of likes in hours. Still, the celebration didn't erase the bigger question: how long would Clark be out? The Fever needed their superstar healthy for a playoff push, and fans were hungry for answers. Her groin injury wasn't just a personal setback. It had the entire franchise on edge, while Hull's rise gave the team a spark. Everyone was watching Clark. How serious was the injury? Could she make it back in time? Team doctor stayed quiet, offering only general updates. She's progressing well, but there's no timetable. That left fans nervous and gave the media room to speculate. Some insiders hinted the Fever might shut her down early to protect her long-term future. Others claimed Clark would push through pain just to be on the court when it counted most. The debate took off online: rest her for the future or play her if she's able. Meanwhile, the Fever managed to win just enough to stay in the playoff race, thanks in part to Hull's big performances. But the truth was unavoidable: they needed their franchise player back. Without Clark at full strength, a deep playoff run felt unlikely. Then, she finally addressed the speculation. In a short but determined statement, Clark said, "I'm doing everything I can to be back when it matters most. Trust me, I'll be ready."
Story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star. Caitlin Clark, she's going to miss all the action on the court.
Clark's short statement lit a fire under the fan base. Was she hinting at a dramatic playoff comeback? Around the same time, Lexi Hull's emotional post about losing her dog Maggie went viral. Thousands of fans, fellow players, and friends flooded her comments with support, but two messages stood out. Caitlin Clark simply replied with words of comfort, despite dealing with her own disappointment just days after winning one of the biggest awards of her career and being forced to miss an event she had dreamed about. Hull, still grieving the loss of her companion of more than a decade, leaned on her teammates. One in particular, Sophie Cunningham, emerged as the team's steady presence. She offered encouragement, protection, and genuine care when it was needed most. Together, these three women reminded everyone that being a pro athlete is about more than highlight plays and packed arenas. It's about showing up for one another when life hits hard. They proved that greatness isn't measured only by points and wins, but also by compassion, by lifting each other up, offering comfort, and standing together when things feel heavy. Their connection became something fans couldn't overlook. Social media lit up with posts saying, "This is what a real team looks like," and calling them role models beyond basketball. The vibe around the Fever shifted. This wasn't just a story about the scoreboard anymore. It was about loyalty, love, and resilience in the face of heartbreak. For Caitlin, Lexi, and Sophie, This moment became more than just a challenge. It became a lasting story of true sisterhood that fans across the country will remember for years to come.
We shall never know peace, at least when it comes to the WNBA space. It was this ad that Angel put out, and I don't know if this is part of a larger campaign where it's going to be similar themes in similar places, but because of where the WNBA All-Star Game is, and because of who plays on the Indiana Fever in the home city of the WNBA All-Star Game, it's going to raise some eyebrows.
This moment wasn't about who scored the most or who walked away with the trophy. It was about something much bigger, how they stood by each other when life got tough. The Indiana Fever didn't just operate like a basketball team, they moved like a family, side by side through both the highs and the lows. Caitlin Clark was focused on healing and coming back stronger. Lexi Hull was preparing for the three-point contest, balancing excitement with the weight of personal loss, and Sophie Cunningham stayed true to her role as the fire, the protector, the steady anchor who kept everyone together. These women weren't just teammates, they were sisters. They lifted one another up when it mattered most, refusing to let life's blows break their bond. Fans felt that unity deeply. It wasn't the stats or highlight plays that stole hearts. It was the loyalty, the love, and the courage they showed when it counted. In a sports world obsessed with wins and losses, this was a reminder that some of the biggest victories happen off the scoreboard, in moments where friendship and compassion win out over everything else. The Fever weren't just loaded with talent, they were powered by heart, and that heart was impossible to miss as Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull stood by Caitlin Clark, and as all three stood by each other through injury, grief, and pressure. This wasn't just basketball, this was family in motion, and people everywhere could feel it. The way they protect, celebrate, and rally around each other is changing how fans see the game. Sophie's public message to Hull after the loss of her dog summed it up perfectly. "No, Lex, I'm so sorry." Simple words, but filled with raw, visible emotion. You could feel the care through the screen. It wasn't just a condolence. It was proof of something rare in professional sports. A true sisterhood.
The NBA's All-Star Game went down 36%. That is a lot. That's more than a third from last year. Last year was over 3.4 million people, and it went down to 2.1. Now, you could say is a success. Yeah, for a women's sport, that's still a lot of people. But at the same time, it really isn't a success because think about it. It's the only sport playing. It's the only game that's going. And you only could draw, right?